starting.
Good evening. It is Wednesday, April 27th, 2022. It is 6:16 p.m. and I am opening the Community Development Advisory Committee meeting. We will call the roll. Brandy Brown. Brandy is here, right?
Yeah.
Here.
Brandy's here. Susan Bucci,
Here.
Deborah Hogan,
Present.
Kenya Middleton. Kenya's here.
Yeah, Kenya's here.
I'm here.
Okay.
For some reason, I'm delayed, but I'm
No
here.
problem. No problem. Michelle O'Loughlin.
Here.
And I'm Mary Ann Callahan. Do we have any comments on the minutes for the 4/13 meeting?
Hey, look, I can share them. There you go.
Steve, if we don't have enough, do we have enough to vote on minutes?
Yeah, you just need some
Okay.
majority.
Okay. Any conversation about the minutes as they are? And if not, may I have a motion to approve?
I approve.
Second, Deborah.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Should I abstain because I wasn't there?
Good question.
If you wish. I mean, it's up to you. We have enough to approve it regardless.
Okay, no, I'll approve it. I read it.
Okay.
And I talked to Mary Ann about what went
Yeah,
on.
we did. We went over everything. So
Okay,
Who, sorry, just for the record, who put forward the motion? Was
I
it
think
Sue?
it was Kenya.
Oh, was it?
Yes,
Kenya?
it was me.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, so we got a unanimous on that? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. All right, and then I will stop sharing. Now I will share the spreadsheets. Wait. Yeah, that's it. Okay. This should look familiar to us by now.
yes. And I guess we will start with the services budget. And I have good news to report. I met yesterday with the mayor and I spoke to him about our concerns. He listened very carefully and was amenable to what we were saying, understood completely. But he did have a couple of things that he wanted us to know. One of the reasons for the Attain $8,000 budget was because when Attain was, are we getting feedback, Steve?
It's hard
Yeah,
for me to, who
There
were
you go.
oh,
You're good.
Mary Ann, do you mind? Would you start over, please? I couldn't hear the first part about what the mayor said about.
I just said he was very amenable to what we were talking to him about. He understood our position, but he did want us to know a couple of things. Apparently, when the Attain Technology Center was set up, the city did agree to pay the rent ongoing for that facility, and that's why the $8,000 was there. But he did say that he would be willing to go down to even $25,000 for the MHAS budget. And he would actually change the name of that to a mental health response budget because he said they would like to look for other service providers for that particular instance. So according to my calculations, putting back the $5,000 that he wants for Attain out of the 20 from the money that we took out of MHAS, that gives us $5,000 extra. And I wanted to talk to people, if my math is correct, what we wanted to do with that extra $5,000.
okay. Just Mary Ann, you're either getting away from your microphone or not, but you're kind of.
No, people have said that wherever I am now, it's kind of in and out, and I apologize. What part didn't you get?
I got it. It was just in and out, so it was a little.
Yeah, I
wonky.
do. My phone calls are like that too. It's very annoying.
So at the numbers, okay, so where do we want to modify here? I'm gonna move this little screen here. So we had the cost with the mayor's rec, which was the one you guys were approving. And then the CDAC push was what you wanted to encourage. So where did you want to move monies on the cost with the
Well-
mayor's requisition?
The first thing is to take another $10,000 out of our push on the $35,000 for MHAST, which he is now going to rename as a mental health response.
So that's going down to 40,000?
That's gone down to 25 now.
Oh, 25,000. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about the column on the right. That was gonna be your
Okay,
argument
but
thing.
that's
So
what,
so
25,000.
25,000. Okay,
But we have to add $3,000 to the Attain budget because the city has promised to pay the rent.
how much is that?
It's 8,000. So that's another 5
Okay.
there. And according to your magic calculations, what does that leave us with?
Well, now remember, cap is just the hard cap. You do not have to go to that, but you're $22,000 away from that cap.
Okay.
Oh.
Any discussion on what we think we should do?
Well, then couldn't we then refund, like put more money back into that Carlisle Saratoga?
We could.
Because we talked about that.
We could bring it back up to the 12,000.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we still have another 10 grand, right?
15 grand even.
15 grand.
15 grand.
I'd like to add more money in the community policing category if everyone agrees, and let's talk about how much money we want to put there.
Where was the community? Oh, there it
It's
is.
on the bottom.
Right now it's 0.
No, that's the
No,
police
it's-
academy.
Oh, the one below it.
Community
Okay.
policing is 3,000 right now.
Okay. So $3,000 is current budget. You guys
think
had
we
talked
could-
about
I think we could increase that, community policing.
to what?
And what about the youth groups? The blue bag litter book. That's the only thing on there that has a 0 besides the other ones, I think.
Well, both the police academy and the blue bag programs are not ones that anyone specifically asked about, although Chief Sikorsky may have asked. Oh, it wasn't Chief Sikorsky.
I actually asked about the blue bags, or do you mean someone outside of this?
Yeah,
group?
I bet someone from outside. I know you were pushing for the blue bag,
Oh,
and I
okay.
know Deb was pushing for the police academy. I don't want to put words in your mouth, so if I'm saying that wrong, let me know. But
we're
the
getting
others
that-
were
We're
requested.
getting that feedback again.
So, well, could we
Somebody,
Is that
we're
so?
getting a lot of background from somebody. Can you check and see if you've got
Something going on in the background now.
so if we
Was
have,
that Sue? Who-
so we have a difference now of 15,000. If we kind of did that by 5, right? We divided it by 3. We could do something in this litter bug recycling program for 5,000, put 5,000 in the police academy and 5,000 more in the community policing, bringing that up to 8,000. Do you think with that?
5,000 for a blue bag litter bug recycling program is a lot of money though, isn't it?
Well, you have to decide though. These bags are expensive. I mean, if you're
Yeah,
gonna commit to
but
something
the
that
pr-
you're-
Cannot support that.
I'm sorry, who is that?
That's Deborah. I just cannot support that. I'm sorry.
Do you have you don't support it at all, or you don't support it at that amount?
Both. And to help give back, there is a possible other funding source for the Citizen Police Academy. So if that 5,000, you want to go, where were we? If we fully funded the, what Sue was talking about with the Carlisle, the after-school programs, has that been fully funded?
Yeah, I was, that was 12. That's $12,000. Is that what they had asked for?
Yes,
Okay.
Mothers and babies, has that been fully? I apologize, I don't have the screen in front of me.
This is listed at 9,700. I don't have the book with me to know how much they asked for.
I'll look that up.
Okay, I got mine here too.
And also, Steve, can you change, oh, yeah, can you change the MHAST to the mental health?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so it's, the agency,
That's
I
what-
guess, is unknown at this point.
That's, yeah.
I kind of know what's going on with that. Oh, hold on, Ebony's here. Let me make sure I'm not.
Hi, Ebony.
I looked up, mothers and babies have actually requested $20,000.
Oh, wow. So even if we give them another 5, it would get them closer to what they want.
So maybe we could bring them up to
Is that
an even
Linda?
15.
Oh, hold on just a second, what you're saying. Somebody's speakers, I think, are interfering with, or you're getting feedback from the speakers when someone talks.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that, okay. Sorry, you were saying, Sue?
I said, couldn't we then maybe bring that up, mothers and babies to an even 15?
Just so you know, you are at the cap. So anything
No, but we were
now
gonna
is-
take that 5,000 from the police, the Citizen Police Academy, because
Oh.
Deborah, did I understand you correctly that they would have other funding?
That is what
Right.
I'm led to believe, so that's,
Okay,
I feel comfortable in moving that.
okay.
And she also has an objection to the blue bag program. So where does that leave us?
Do you want to take that 5,000 from the blue bag program and give it to mothers and babies?
Are we fully funding anyone else except for the after-school program at Carlisle? Attain got what they needed.
Alright.
Any ideas?
Are we fully funding Vines? That's funded.
I'm so sorry, guys. I think that, but Vines asked for more than 10, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They asked for
They asked
20.
for-
Right,
Yeah.
right. So,
Yeah, sorry.
no problem. Any thoughts?
I would rather see mothers and babies get more funding in the blue bag program, I guess. I hate to do that, but. And
Well,
I
I just did a little bit of math on that blue bag program. I mean, I kind of look at it more of something that maybe we could do for, I'd be behind it if we did something where we did blue bags in the food pantries that are located in the city. So I just did a little bit of math, and $5,000 only buys 4,285 bags. So everything else you'd have to do would have to be either funded elsewhere or donated somehow.
Thoughts on this? Anyone?
say that again.
Does anyone have any other thoughts on this particular line item?
I mean, I do support the blue bag thing, definitely. But I guess that would be okay.
Remember, this was an idea from a CDAC member, and we talked and we threw a bunch of ideas at that. I think Brandy had initially proposed it. So if you're going to fund it all and you can hammer out, because Deb obviously has some opposition to it, you're going to need to define it, exactly what you're doing. Is it a blue bag program? Are you going to try to do encourage recycling program in the schools? Exactly what are you going to be aiming for there with this? Because it's a lot of things right now.
For me, I just think that it should be affordable and accessible to people who don't have the money to purchase the bags. I don't even understand how that, I don't know. I don't even want to say anything else because I don't understand how that's not something that we have a whole trash problem all over Binghamton. And we have plenty of low income people, and the bags are not easy to get. So I don't know, but I'm not, I don't want to get upset, so I'm not saying anything else.
Anyone else? If there's no other discussion, could I suggest that maybe we look into this for something that could be developed and possibly funded in the next fiscal year? That we could actually look into something, because my concern is that if you say to people that there is a place where you can get free bags and then the money runs out, what happens to those people? It's not a permanent solution. And it doesn't touch the litter bug recycling issues that you also brought up, Brandy. So what I'm wondering is, if could we discuss, you know, and maybe at the start of the next fiscal round, a program, or even have somebody put together a sort of pilot for, like, we could maybe say to people, you know, we'll get you started with the blue bags. We can't continuously do this, but also with this comes, you know, your responsibilities about recycling and littering, and actually make a program, and perhaps even distribute them, like Sue says, in the child pantries, along with, you know, information, a flyer that would go with the bags. How does that sound? And then we can also determine, you know, a viable cost to get things started. Deborah, would you be up for a kind of concept such as that?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
I'm so sorry, I was froze out, so I missed part of this. What I have a problem with the bags, we need to get to merchants and retailers, because there's a whole discussion right now, not just the west side, but on the north side, with the CVS leaving and closing. That was a source for people that could get that. I can see something with like the urban youth and the Boys and Girls Club coming up with a PSA, whether it be like a little commercial or something that would be a Facebook ad. I could see that, but I would get behind that if that was for next year. And I think that would be a wonderful melding of that. But I'm sorry, blue bags are something that is what it is in Binghamton. And I'm sorry, we all have to budget for that. If there's an issue, then maybe they can contact their council person and maybe something could be set up for donation. But I'm sorry, that's, for me, that's a hard one.
Well, considering that we have the two ends of this discussion at this particular point, would it be fair to say that we will table this until next year and then spend a little bit more time to see what we can come up with and perhaps create a program that could be ongoing?
I'm good with that.
You're good with that, Brandy?
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else have any other comments about this? I mean, I think it's something that could be looked into, definitely.
I'll volunteer for a committee.
I'm
That's
sorry.
fine. This is Kenya, and hi. And actually, I actually called today the Treasury Department, because at my store, 435 State Street, I've had a bunch of people since CVS call and ask if we had bags. So I called today to see if we could. Sorry, I muted myself. If we could possibly get bags at my store, so on the north side of Binghamton. So that's one thing I'm trying to work on.
Oh, I thought you guys were selling them. You're not selling them yet?
We're not.
Okay, yeah.
No, we're not. I'm trying. I think the previous manager before me was trying to get it, but it just never got off. The program never got off at the store, but I'm trying to get it because there's literally no place for anybody on the north side of Binghamton to buy bags. And you know, most of the people walk on that side of town. So
Steve, is this something that you know, the mayor could be involved in? Because he did say to me when we met, he said if there's anything that he can do to help us, he will do this. And we could actually bring this to his attention to make sure that her store does get them. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll ask him about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Steve.
So I want to say a couple things. I'm not trying to take over for Mary Ann. She's definitely.
No, you can. That's
I'm
okay.
gonna I'm gonna zero this out here. That gives you an additional 5,000. I will say though, as CDAC members, feel free if you want to reach out to agencies and talk to them about these things. As you're an elected or as you're an appointed CDAC member by an elected official, yeah, feel free to contact agencies. I have some numbers if you want to reach out to someone or even work together with other CDAC members. And that's always good when you guys are taking an initiative like that. So
One of the things I would like us to all consider is one of the first things I said when I went into the mayor's office. I showed him the uniform that we had created and said we had brought in agencies that were not asking us for money. I told him what a wonderful group we have this year, who actually were much more proactive and involved and advocating for things that matter to them in the city. And I think he was quite impressed, to be very honest with you. And I think that if we could, after we vote on the budget and have all of that done, we could have a short discussion about next steps in that next steps section of the agenda, talk about what we can do to work as a group to leverage our influence on things that people think are important issues in the community. I think we can make the CDAC much more than just a recommendation body. We can make it something where we provide insights to the community that they may not have because of the kinds of people we have around the table. So let's talk about that after we get the final vote on the budget. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. Maybe Steve could answer this. On the Fairview Recovery, the opioid project, what, wasn't there just something in the news that Binghamton was awarded a huge sum of money directed for?
I mean, it's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah,
I will tell you
think-
this, that others, and just so you know, from my perspective, I am not told about a lot of things that happen.
Actually, you know,
Even for
Steve,
projects that are CDBG.
this came up in the mayor's discussion. He said that Broome County has been given grant
Mhm.
money, a whole bunch of grant money, which
Okay,
is why he felt better about taking, cutting in half what he was recommending for MHAST and then relabeling it mental health response. So he was going to work with the county to see what could be done. He said, if I remember correctly, it was over $3 million from 2 different kinds of pots. So that was something that did come up in our discussion.
Okay. Yeah, so does Fairview Recovery also get money from the county?
you know what, it should be, well, for this particular project that they applied for, I do not know. It should be though in your packet, because they're supposed to list additional sources of funding for their projects.
I'm gonna try to find that.
So going back to the allocations, we have, Steve, what do we have safely to look at, keeping us?
You have about $5,000 more until cap.
What if we rounded the community policing up to 10 and then gave the rest to mothers and babies? Does anyone have any? And that would be what?
Yes, I would like to fund mothers and babies as much as we
As much,
possibly
yeah, I agree with Michelle.
But
would too.
this gives money to very, very important aspects of the community, after school programs, community policing, and then all of the service agencies. Does anyone have any objections to the allocations as they are now?
No.
No,
Okay.
Mary Ann, for ease of sake, you may want to get at least a definitive yes vote from everyone for services. Not a vote, an initial statement, because you'll vote on CDBG as a whole. But you may want to get a definitive yes vote from everyone who's present before you move on.
For
Not
each
vote,
line?
but- Yeah,
For
just to make
each
sure you're
line?
not going to come back and
Not for each line necessarily.
No,
but
no, no, no.
for-
But for the services as a
For the services,
whole.
well,
that's basically where we were going is, does anyone have any objections to it as it stands at this point? So how many of you are in favor? Please say aye.
I,
Aye.
Anyone object? Any abstentions?
Okay, it's an unofficial vote too, so I'm
Right,
not gonna
but,
record it,
but
but
at least we've taken it.
what do you call this? Oh, straw poll, straw poll.
straw
Yeah.
poll.
Just kind of checking is what we call it. So we are happy. We can move on to the next.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
I also talked to the mayor about the fact that we were, for the first time in a very, very long time, not taking the COC's recommendations, and he seemed fine with that. So I don't know if, oh, you wanted to go to the Capitol.
Oh, wait, yeah, you wanna go to see it? Sorry.
Yeah,
I'll
let's
go to
do
the
that
COC.
because then we can, get that out of the way.
I'll just go to this, which is the CDA. So here is the COC recommendations, essentially with what we know now. This will change once we get the initial numbers, but here is the final, what you guys had talked about last time, but I know there were objections.
Okay, any discussion? Any particular?
Yeah, I'd like to take out all funding to Truth Farm. That's my personal opinion.
Comment? Does anyone else?
why, Sue, if you don't mind my
No, I
asking?
just, from what I have seen, I just don't feel like they're as organized and professional as some of these other agencies that are looking for funding. And then, Steve, didn't you say last week that they really weren't accountable for some of their money or did they ask for money and then not use it or something last year?
No, the issue was the numbers they were recording. They, at least in the previous year, the numbers they had claimed of clients they had assisted did not mesh with the numbers the COC had.
Okay.
So there was a disconnect there. I don't remember that being an issue this year, so I don't know if everything got cleaned up or not.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I could go one way or the other if we're looking to fund something else that was more, but I mean, as this stands from the last time we all discussed it, unless anybody feels really strongly about moving more money around, I'd be okay with it.
it is, and remember, it's for client assistance, so it's very, very specific. And this is something you can definitely track, right, Steve?
Yes. I mean, these are, you have to enter these numbers into a database. It does not let you fudge it. I mean, it is very definitive.
So knowing that, so does it make you feel a little bit better?
Yeah,
about the
I
money
guess,
that we're getting?
zero funding wouldn't be great. I don't know. I just have seen, and some of the things I've seen was from a disgruntled former employee. So I don't know how, and
Okay,
some of it wasn't, but so, I think it's fair that we cut back on what was recommended, and, I'm sure that they'll take whatever we can give them.
give them an amount and see what they do with it this
Yeah.
funding round.
This is Kenya. I agree with Sue. I mean, I feel the same way you feel. I mean, I didn't want to be the first one to say anything, but I agree with Sue. So.
Is there anybody feel strongly one way or the other?
So are you saying that we should just fund them $10,000 only?
Well,
Sue?
I want,
Yes.
she was saying she's fine with that if it's for client assistance, but I wanted to know if there's anyone else who feels strongly about this one way or the other.
Kenya, would you be okay with the 10 grand?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I don't like. I mean, I've heard certain things about this organization. I don't want to be judgmental, but I strongly agree. If it's 10,000, I agree with that.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Yeah, Mary Ann, this is Deborah.
Yeah.
Would Steve mind just please giving me a brief recap on our agency and then our COC?
Oh, you can't see
I
the
found
screen?
out, What I'm trying, can you just recap for me from the screens we're over in the blue where you are now. And the red part, that's the part the numbers going over. Could you just quick explain that?
Okay, do you need me to tell you the numbers or just explain what the COC's thinking was?
No, I got that part of it. It's just the numbers I'm having a hard time with.
Okay,
I think in red,
yeah, would it help if they were a different color?
please.
Yeah, no problem. Once I figure out how to, there we go. Let's see here, I will change that to, oh, what's a good light color?
That's pretty. Does that make it better, Deb?
That's perfect.
Okay, there we go. All right, there we go.
So how does everyone feel about all of that? Are we okay? The reason I asked if there was any particular objection to giving that amount of money to Truth Farm is I got the feeling from the mayor that what you guys are concerned about, he is also concerned about. So I think that his final decisions will reflect that. So we have two choices. We can leave it the way it is and let him make the ultimate decision. How does that sound to everybody?
Yeah, that's okay with me.
Yeah,
Because we did discuss this and he has some very strong feelings as well. So I suspect that, even that number may change. But at least, if we're happy with this and we can vote on it, then we can move on.
okay.
So,
What could we put that in that would bring that up if it was zeroed out? Or reduced it to 5?
I know this from past experiences, you can always give more money to Finn.
you can give more money to what?
To Finn, they can,
Finn.
they seem to lowball their numbers every year, and they are almost always willing to take and spend additional funds.
Well, based on the fact that I told you what I just told you, do we want to do that or do we want to leave it the way it is? Do we want to bump them up and zero out Truth Farm?
Yes. I would say yes then. If that's the case,
That is most likely going to be the case, to be very honest with you. So does anyone have an objection? Again, we're getting the feedback, Steve. Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Or Marianne, you could leave that 10,000 in for Truth Farm and then, just make note to the mayor if they do reduce Truth Farm to 0, where we would like that $10,000 to go.
That,
I like that idea. This is
Okay.
Ebony.
okay. And you guys won't tell them that I told you, right?
Right.
I agree with family enrichment. They do a great job.
Okay, so we leave it the way it is and then indicate that should the decision be to zero out Truth Farm, we would recommend that that money go to Fen? Or do
Yeah.
you want to do it?
Yes.
Which one do people, can I get some?
Yeah, family enrichment would be okay.
So do we want to, okay, if we put the money into family enrichment and zero out Truth Farm, how many people would disagree with that? So it seems like we can, and how many people would agree that we should zero out Truth Farm and give the money to Fen? Please say aye.
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 Any nays? Another unofficial vote.
I would be nay on that.
Who's that? Is that Ebony?
That's Ebony.
Okay.
I'm more comfortable with letting the mayor make that decision on that
Okay.
10,000. I'm not comfortable with overfunding folks just off of general purpose.
That's smart.
Okay, so is that the way we all want to go? Anybody who disagrees, just say so. Otherwise, we'll do that. We'll stipulate that should that be zeroed out, it will go to Fen. we recommend that it would go to Fen because they can always use the money.
Yeah.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah,
Everybody say aye who agrees?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
Aye.
Marianne, you do need to make a vote on the ESG budget itself, and that does have to be the official vote.
Okay,
That's the part I still had a question about. I
okay, then. Based on the fact that Steve is going to stipulate that should Truth Farm be zeroed out, we recommend the money go to Fen. Can I have a motion to approve this
Oh,
budget?
I think Deb had an issue.
No, I was up on the ESG. I apologize.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry.
Okay, so can I have a motion to approve this budget
I'll make a motion to approve that budget.
and a second?
Second,
That was Ebony.
Ebony, yep.
Everyone in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay,
That's 7. Okay.
cool. Progress in our time. Okay, capital
So-
projects next, Steve?
Yeah, so I'll just go, well, before we go much further, okay, so I'm not gonna put it on here just for now, but that's ESG, you did home already, so you've got to do the rest of the CDBG, and it's not just capital projects, there's other non-capital stuff as well, so do you want to go to capital projects, or you want to do the rest of the stuff first?
I guess we can start with what we haven't talked about. Yeah, you want to just go through from the top down? Let's do that.
Okay. So the first part's administration and compliance, that's essentially salaries for my staff. It includes CDAC stipend, that's your guys' money. It includes the financial expenses. It does not include legal. Legal got moved out because of an issue that we had with tracking time.
Can you define financial expenses?
That's salaries for finance, but
Okay.
that's also something I have to work out with finance as well.
Okay.
And then $11,000 for the single audit, which is required.
Can we switch those numbers to $50,000 for the CDAC and 44 for financial?
No, not without city council approving it.
Yeah, they'll never buy it. Okay, never mind. So do you recommend that we project last year's budget money?
You're not
Oh,
asking me.
yeah.
Don't ask me. I can't
Well,
recommend it.
I mean,
Here's
we're-
the minimum, and that includes all those things on the side. That it's 50,000 for finance, 4,400 for. So then the maximum is that number plus the projected salary cost for my staff. So, yeah, you'll have to come up with a number basically between the minimum and the maximum.
any thoughts, guys? Since Steve is being so uncooperative.
Can't we fund it for what it was in the 47? So that same number, 156,
Yeah, the-
442?
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's a very difficult thing for us to try to come up with any kind of real numbers. If we do
Right.
this, though, then whatever the 48 budget will allow will be that number, right, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, this gets messed with. Any
Yeah.
amount that's not covered with CDBG will be covered with
Okay,
general funds.
and
So
so the same. Go ahead.
Fair housing has to be 5,000, that's the minimum?
Yes, because we're wanting to do a fair housing education course. Again, although we do have some older funds that it's still a questionable, yeah, we'll say 5,000.
Okay,
Okay, so that's got to go in there.
planning,
Planning is the salaries for Juliet Burling, Tito, for their part in running city or creating city plans. And then also Sean McGee, who's the historical planner who does the historical stuff for the ERRs. So
so it kind of looks like we're at the max and we should probably just put that number in. Okay.
We are hoping that next year, we're trying, so you guys know, with the whole salary issue, HUD dinged us last year for not tracking or not having good records of our salary times. They actually need to be grant specific. And I'm getting pushback. This is why legal got pulled out of this, because they don't want to track time they spend 20 minutes working on a contract, multiple times in a year. So
Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
still have to hammer the rest of that stuff out. What we're hoping is eventually we'll be able to track that really, really accurately, so we can actually give an accurate amount. I mean, right now it's sort of guesstimation. It's the amount of percentage of their salary we think people spend on activities that are eligible. So we're gonna at some point be much more accurate in that regard. Although it's the first quarter done already, so we need to get that taken care of. But yeah, hopefully we'll have a good number coming next year. Much better number.
Okay.
All right, so that's only $5,000 more than the fiscal year 47. So that's not too bad, right?
Yeah, it's basically the fair housing that wasn't funded
Yes,
last
right.
year. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so we can leave that, right, and go on to the BLDC.
Yeah.
This is
Um,
staff
unless
salaries. Almost everything they do qualifies under CDBG. I do not know if this probably includes the new. We have a new BLDC director. If you didn't know, it is. What's her name? I forgot. It's not Shannon. It's. Did someone just send me an email on it? That would be weird. No. Anyway, so we do have a new person now, and that can be covered as well. So just so you guys are aware of that. So any amount can be put in there that's up to the max.
So do
Any
you want to do fiscal, the 47 number plus this one salary of the new person?
I think that's already, I believe that's already in there. I could be wrong, but Sarah Close is her name.
It's already in the 245 or the 145?
I think it's already in the 245. That seems a lot for two people.
Lucky them.
Yeah.
So we want to use the 245 figure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And these, I mean, we don't have the requisite insights to actually make, kind of distinctions. Can we just use the 48 numbers for the rest, guys?
Like housing, code enforcement, those kinds of things.
I mean, it's going to be difficult for us to make any kind of insightful and effective recommendations on things that we don't know a whole lot about.
I agree.
I mean, these three lines are essentially salary points. I would say if you have an issue with a particular position being funded, then that would be the time to bring that up. Or if you think those salaries shouldn't be backed on CDBG.
We yield to the wisdom of those.
Not me.
Not you. Okay, we yield to someone's wisdom because we are not quite sure. If everyone agrees, can we move on to program delivery?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, you have about 379,000 left, but this does include the capital projects, which can still be messed around. So, home purchase assistance and repairs, my recommendation on that is still 0 because there's still between home and CDBG currently there's about $800,000, and you're going to have to put how much of home in there? 240,000 because there's nothing else we can do with that. So my recommendation for home purchase assistance and repairs is 0 because we just don't need it.
Right. Okay. And the lid.
Same thing. For years, housing was handling much more. They were doing many more contract projects that needed the lead program, but they just, as those dropped off, they just kept asking for the same amount of lead assistance. It's only about, I would say, less than, I think it's like $600 per project, maybe up to 1,000 depending if there's issues.
Really?
And we might handle 8 projects in a year, maybe at max. 4 is probably more realistic. There's not a lot. I mean, they take so long. We might have 8 or 10 going at once, but the time to finish, from start to finish, can take multiple years. So, yeah, my recommendation is it's going to be 0 on that as well. As the
Okay,
head of housing.
Okay.
Thing is, anything we screw up, we can always rip from the BLDC revolving loan program. That's what we're doing. So
Okay. So senior housing repair, that's First Ward Action
that's
Council.
First Ward Action Council. Yep.
Okay.
Everybody okay with that amount?
yes.
And
Can we increase the demolition and blight removal?
Sure.
I know that the previous administration had indicated, had some reason that they had lowered that number, Steve. Do you remember why they said that?
Well, we have done a lot of demolitions, so I don't know if they're just running out of abandoned blighted properties to demolish or what. I'm not sure.
I could give them a list.
I think we all
Well,
could.
remember, there's a legal process. Every property in the city is owned by someone, even if it's quote unquote abandoned. So you have to go through a process. Obviously, if it's a property that's being used for crime, or it's a nuisance property, that changes, that sort of, I don't want to say eminent domain, but that availability of the city to step in and say shut it down or condemn it. And then once you have the condemnation, you can do the demolition. But all of that requires some legal paperwork, a lot of legal paperwork. And obviously people oppose, there'll be people that oppose properties being done like that. Other than that, it's been a while since the last flood, and I know we've also been getting FEMA money to demolish flood damaged properties. So I'm not sure exactly what our status is. Right now, I think we have a project for about 10 or 12 properties to be demolished. And generally, it's between 30 and 40 or even $50,000 to demolish a house. So look at it this way, the 76,000 is probably going to cover 2 properties.
Cover
So
2?
yeah.
Wow.
Right.
And are most of the properties within our zones, our eligibility zones?
I don't know. They're former residential. Most of them are former residential properties, so they should be in an R zone of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
What right off the top of my head, for the past 3 years, I've been driving by the properties on Fayette Street that go between Susquehanna and Hawley. And the windows are all out. It's clearly they're not inhabited, and they've just been sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. So why wouldn't those be gone already?
Well, if it's a situation where it's a vacant property, or it's a vacant property, and we do have John Westgate's our vacant property officer. There are people who will buy very rundown properties to invest in them, and just like anything else, one might purchase the initial property at county auction and then do nothing, but still have a dream of doing something with it. So obviously that person's gonna have a legal right to do something, but are they, that's where there's a legal aspect to just taking a property that looks bad and demolishing it. You have to make sure, the city has to own it. And if someone doesn't want to sell and they've not, it's not a nuisance property, it becomes more difficult.
I don't know. If any of you get a chance, you should drive by. It's unbelievable. front doors off, windows are out. And they're just, and I think the lot on the corner had been demolished, and that at one point was supposed to be a Vines project. I don't know if it still is gonna be.
Yes, it will be. It's
You
supposed to
know,
be.
another issue is floodwater mitigation. So you can't just demolish, you know, certain properties on certain blocks because it will cause runoff issues other places. So there's a lot of different circumstances that goes into, you know, just demolishing a whole block or something like that.
And you won't define them here. You'll just give a number for the city to use for demolitions. So for those like 12 properties or so that we're demolishing now, we're going to cover 2 of them with CDBG costs, and the rest are going to come out of some other fund. So I would say your best bet here is to define roughly $30,000 per house. How many houses do you want to demolish?
Wow.
Do we want to bump that number up to 3 houses?
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I mean, I look at it from the point of view of the people that do live in that neighborhood.
yeah.
I mean, it must be awful to look at that every day and to think that you are not valued as a citizen to live in a decent neighborhood because it's so neglected and awful.
It doesn't attract business and investment either.
No,
Please be careful because you are talking about people's neighborhood and homes.
I know, but the properties I have in mind, they're beyond being inhabited. And then-
There is a problem with blight. And I think that's what you're referring to is blighted properties.
right. I think-
Technically, all of our demolitions are blighted properties.
Exactly.
because-
They're not, yeah.
Just from the CDBG definition, we have to, basically, the way we define them for CDBG eligibility is that they're called spotlight. Spotlight, just from the legalistic, from CDBG's perspective, is a property that is not fit for human habitation. So
Right.
it can be as simple as a house that has, you know, is what you would consider a blighted property, and it can also be as simple as a property that the water main and the sewer mains are all messed up. So we're using that as an excuse to call it not fit for human habitation. We're going to demolish it. Well,
So if we go with the number that we have now, we're solidly doing three houses, right?
Yeah.
How does everyone feel about that?
Good. That's
Good.
fine.
Any objections? Okay. The academy?
that is 20. That's going to be 20,000 going into next year. I talked to Deb. Did you have something to say?
No, it's Connor Smith. It's a great program.
I talked to Kona at Metro. They've been talking about increasing the costs lately, and we basically said, all right, so what about next year? And so we said, okay.
Okay.
So they've been doing it for $16,000 for like the past, before I even started. So obviously there's going to be overall at some point an increase in costs, but it is required for although there's zero money going to the home purchases and repairs, those programs still exist. We have money for them. And to use our program, you need to take part in the Homeownership Academy.
Okay.
Okay, so looking down, this is what you guys have so far. Is that? Yeah, okay, sorry. You still have about 184,000 and change. So if you guys are comfortable, if you want to start a straw poll here, Marianne?
As we are to this point, you don't want to go farther. Do we have
Just
any?
for this page, and then we'll do
Okay.
capitals, and then we'll do
Okay.
capitals.
So does anyone have any objections to the amounts that are now in those columns? I don't hear
No.
anything, Steve.
No.
So everyone who agrees, would you please say aye?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
Hi.
All right.
Aha, here we go. capital projects. You still have, oh, let me go back, because we need to know the number on this page. Assuming we don't change anything else, you still have 184, 613, 11.
Okay.
184, 613.11. Okay. So,
Can before we go any further, I had made the remark about street mill and pave Vestal Ave. You can, that Vestal to Penn to South Washington, I would like you to take that out because
Oh.
there's way worse streets. And actually, I have to give a shout out to DPW. When we put in online that was potholes that needed to be taken care of, they came right over like within 2 days.
So you want to take,
So Steve did that.
yeah, I just took it out as a description.
right,
Um,
he didn't change the.
Yeah, right. That I just wanted that out of there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we will need to add. would
We- What we can do is I don't think. Yeah, no, I sent you guys a list of streets, right? Yeah, I sent you guys a list of streets and park projects even that they had. That was a while ago. It was after the last meeting. The next, like a few days after that, I got them to send me the eligible streets with estimated costs. And I think I sent you a park project wish list as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because
yes.
the issue with parks was they thought all their money was going to go to the Columbus Park anyway, so they just kind of was like, nah, never mind. But because that sort of fell through, I got Pat to do like an updated list. So you guys should have those for any recommendations here. Do you need me to resend that email? I can.
No, I haven't.
So how do we want to do this? Do we want to start from the top?
Sure.
Any thoughts on the amphitheater repair?
Wait, so do we have to cut? Are these numbers?
No,
Wayne?
you need to spend about $184,000 more dollars. I will
Okay,
highlight this in yellow. This is the number you've got to get down to 0.
okay.
But as you say, increase, that'll change.
Okay, so then I guess we just need to prioritize, right?
Well, you'll have to define the street projects because you guys have an updated list. You need to find the parks projects because you guys have an updated list. And you determine some of these other ones. I think Bernice gave an update on the sidewalk rehab numbers, right? Did I send that out with the?
Yeah, that was a real high number, wasn't
Oh.
that? Like some
Yeah,
300,000
around the
something?
hospital, yeah, around General Hospital,
That was,
300,000 something.
yeah, it was 300,000.
Mhm.
So these 3 projects were applications and the rest is kind of like things you guys have been talking about or things that need to be more specified.
Right.
So based on that and the fact that we do have some extra money, can we all agree that, or do we want to accept the first 3 applications? Is there any discussion on those 3?
No, they're okay.
Yeah.
No. Is everybody agreed that those are okay? If you don't agree, please let us know.
I do feel like I need to say something here. The Tri-Cities Opera, their opera shop rehab is probably going to become something else. So the issue is that they only qualify under historical aspects. And the opera shop is not historical. The opera house, the actual house itself, but where the opera shop is next to it is not historical. I have been talking with the head of Tri-Cities Opera because of the money they were assigned this year. There was an issue with that as well. So what he's currently working with, and he does not have a final scope on that, is I think they want to do a wheelchair lift to make the opera house itself wheelchair accessible. I don't think it has a ramp or anything right now, which will qualify under ADA compliance no matter where they did it. But that's so just as an update to you guys. The amounts, I hate to say but I would say don't really change that because they haven't given us a scope. This is more just redefining the scope of their existing request.
So if we agree on that number and they change what they want to do, then that's all the money that they'll get for what they want to do, the new thing that they want to do.
Assuming they don't give me the scope before it goes to the mayor and everything,
Okay.
so. Right now, what they've applied for is the Opera Shop rehab. That's likely not gonna happen, or that's not gonna happen. But I don't think it's fair to them because he didn't realize at that time that the application that wouldn't qualify. So I just want to keep it fair for him when they apply for it. And to explain what it's likely gonna be, which is an ADA compliance for the Opera House itself.
I remember him talking about the possibility of an elevator.
Oh, okay.
I
And
do
also, didn't he talk about bringing their restrooms up to ADA?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So you know that it'll get used appropriately then, right?
It will likely be an ADA compliance, something with ADA compliance. I think what it is they're trying to get and we're not paying for it, but they're getting like an engineer or a architect to come up with like an overarching activity, or overarching plan, and then trying to use CDBG monies for part of it. But as long as it's ADA compliance, it doesn't matter.
And
so you can put that on that line instead opera.
Yeah, I guess I could. The thing is, I don't have a scope for it yet, so I can't say if someone. I guess I could say ADF rates.
yeah, because that would be a more relevant, I mean, and 17.5 is what we want to give them for that. Everybody.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
So those, in other words, those first three are done. So let's look at the rest.
Now, on that wish list, I don't have it in front of me for the parks, but I remember when I looked at it that I really wanted to zoom in on the Walnut Street Park because that was one of the first ones we talked about.
Right.
And on that DPW wish list, it wasn't $20,000 was way low than what they needed for that park safety. Does anybody else remember that number?
So what you're saying is if we give them, if we decide to give them more, do we need to specify? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
I mean, this was Brandy's project, right? The
right.
Walnut.
If we were looking at, we need to spend more of that, we need to spend 184. Some of that can go to Walnut Street Park. We can increase that 20,000 to like 40.
But you're saying that they asked for less than?
No, they asked for more. I
They
think
asked for more than, okay, that's where I was confused.
we put down 20.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you.
Yeah, I wasn't clear.
You're
I
so
just
gracious.
don't have that. I don't have that paper. I don't
I'm
think.
just opening it up.
Okay.
Walnut Street Park, park lighting and cameras, pour in place, safety playground surfacing. It's got 138,000
Wow.
for those two things, 138,610 for Walnut Street Park, because he's got park lighting and cameras would be $100,000.
But Sue, do you remember, or Ebony,
It was Brandy's project, is that the one?
or Brandy, I'm sorry. Wasn't the safety aspect of it because it's so close to the railroad tracks and there's no barrier between the Walnut Street Park and
That's
railroad
right.
tracks?
I don't remember saying, I don't remember anything about cameras, but that is what my concern was, the closeness to the railroad tracks and the vacant lot.
Which is where the safety comes in. That's what you're
Yeah.
concerned about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I would want that specified if we could.
So if we take the security cameras out, that was what, 138,000?
Well, the lighting and cameras, he's got 100,000, and then he's got the pour in place safety playground surfacing, and that's 38,610.
And no barriers, no fencing, no.
No, those are just the two line items. on this wish list.
So
For
being
Walnut
familiar,
Street Park.
being familiar with the park, Brandy, what do you think? Should we specify that a fence, some sort of fencing needs to go around the parameter?
Well, there is fencing kind of around the park, but not not facing Walnut Street. And I'm just like, the empty lot that's across the street is probably owned by someone. And because I've been talking about this for like 2 years. Somebody told me that you can't do anything to part of it because it has something to do with the railroad track. I don't know who owns it, but I
That's
don't
the
know
empty
why they
lot you're
put a park
talking
there.
about.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just not safe. And it's
the
not
empty
that
lot
the
is a-
park is not safe. It's what's across the street from the park that's not safe, in my opinion. Like
Would putting
the
a fence in the
area.
front, would that make it safer? You know, something
No.
that kids would have to actually open a gate and go in?
No, blocking off that railroad track so that people are not crossing it. I know that might be easy for people to get from one side of the town to the other, but being that it's a playground for children, I don't think that they should have access to railroad tracks right outside of the park.
So you're talking
I don't
mostly
know.
about the lot across the street?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not
Which
not really
that's
talking about the park. I'm
the
talking about
park.
the area.
But it doesn't seem that we can do anything about that, Steve.
Um,
The railroad might,
the railroad's privately owned.
right?
Yeah.
And so they're the ones that would be responsible.
And who's, is that federal supervision? I think it's federal, isn't it?
Ugh, I don't know.
I
some
think
DOT
we
or
ran into-
something.
Yeah, we ran into that with issues here in the ward. And I think that's something that you have to approach the feds about. But based on, the park itself, we understand your concerns, but based on the park itself, what would you think would be good? I mean, where do you see safety in this? Because I
just
guess
don't-
I didn't
don't-
understand that it was a separate lot that you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, if you go, if you just go down there, there's it's just not, I have no idea why they even put a park there. It just bothers me.
Would
It really
lighting,
does. But that will only be like at night, right? So the kids shouldn't
Well,
be
yeah.
at the park at night.
yeah, but it would keep people out of the park at night that would go there because it's not lit, and it would maybe be more of a detriment for crime or
Well,
whatever.
that's not really my concern. My concern is the children going to
Their
play in the
safety.
daytime. Yeah.
So what about
So
this?
it
four-
may be something deeper.
Well,
might be
yeah,
different.
it's definitely, we can understand your concerns. And again, this is something that whose district is that in?
Mine.
No.
Oh,
and who's your
Angela Riley.
Angela Riley. This could be something that you could talk to her about, approaching the feds who actually take care of this kind of thing. But so are you happy with, I mean,
I'm good. I guess lighting would be good. I don't really know about cameras. I don't know what can they actually solve, but I guess lighting would maybe
Is-
be a little safer just in case. I don't
so
know.
how much was the lighting? Was that the?
Well, the lighting and cameras were combined for $100,000.
Mm,
And then
Yeah, they
how,
would
how
probably
much
both
is
of
the
them.
playground? How much is the playground?
38,610.
Well, I think we should definitely upgrade the playground.
So
Mhm.
if we added another 38 to that 20,
Mm-hmm.
can we do that, Randy?
Yeah, that's fine.
What's the 20 gonna be for? Then,
That would be the lighting, the safe.
oh, because I thought it was $100,000 for lighting.
No,
Well,
that
yeah,
includes
it
the
is,
cameras,
but
but
the
we're saying that
cameras-
the cameras they're not a priority considering how expensive they are.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is
But
that
I don't
right,
know
Randy?
but I don't
That's
know
true.
if
That's
the
right.
Okay.
lighting is 50,000 and the cameras we don't know the breakdown on that.
No, we don't, but we can stipulate that in our notes. That
Okay.
that's why we did what we did, and then let them adjust if it needs to be adjusted.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and that leaves, the Morgan Road thing, that had to do also with the Discovery Center, didn't it? That was an impactful situation on what was going on at the Discovery Center. We were concerned about that.
Yeah, let me just,
I remember
I've got,
correctly.
I've got Broome County GIS up right now, so yeah.
Because I think Justin had made the point that the Morgan,
Oh, speak of the devil,
he's here?
he just joined.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, let's put him on the spot. No, I think that's what that was all about, wasn't it?
Well, I brought it up that, giving that, funding the amphitheater repair is great, but if we don't fix
Yeah,
the
exactly.
problem,
Yeah, we got to get the
then
source of the
that's where,
problem.
that's where that came from. So I wouldn't know about $20,000, I mean, that's,
It doesn't seem like a lot, does it?
no.
I think we should upgrade that amount of money
To what, 50?
at least.
At least.
Okay, can we
Mary
do, who's that, Deb?
Deborah, we seem to be going down in order. And one of the projects I have, which is at the very bottom, there's gonna be like no extra monies left. Is that how we're doing it, or? I
Well,
apologize.
we're right now, we're just kicking around some ideas, Deb. And the sidewalk rehab, that the estimate we got was $300,000. And there's no way we can do that. We're gonna have to do what we're doing with the rest of this, is sort of, adjusting figures. So,
I understand.
yeah, that's what we're trying to give people, I think, enough money to do the projects that we think are important. So, considering, well, and again, so if we were to add some money to the Morgan Road, based on the fact that it's going to prevent things from happening that are destructive. So can we say we can put 50 in there for now?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then this next line item, oh, my cat finally got disgusted staring at me over the screen. She jumped down because I'm not giving her anything. The 300,000 for Glenwood, Clinton, and Downs.
Well, I think you guys have put $300,000 into street mill and
Yes.
pave.
Exactly,
and
that's
you-
what I'm saying.
You
Yeah,
need to define the specific project. So
okay.
one of them was Glenwood from Clinton to Downs, but I don't even know if that was on the list that was sent out.
So, okay.
I've had several people mention that Glenwood, that area is really bad. So
Let me double check if that's a city road.
Glenwood in that part, Glenwood
Yeah.
and Clinton, oh, definitely that's city.
What would it be? That's the ward. That's the first ward.
Yeah.
Not like a state road running through there.
No.
No, we own that mess. Mhm. So I guess,
Justin said he's still in the queue, waiting.
No, he's on.
I'm on now. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Old email, like, I guess that was at 7:26, so, okay.
so could we take that 300,000 and look at the list that we have and add? What are you doing, Stephen?
I'm moving numbers around so you
Okay.
guys, so you need to define specific streets and then the
Okay.
amounts of the
So
specific streets.
do we have, if we think that the Glenwood Clinton Downs is important, can we add, so you want to put the numbers for specific projects under the 300,000 until we get to 300,000? Is that what you're doing?
No, I mean, I can just put this to zero and you
'Cause
guys
I'm-
can list the number of projects up until you're satisfied.
Because
It may be
Glenwood-
less or more than 300,000.
Yeah, Glenwood, Clinton, and Downs. Does anybody have specific recommendations and of streets and the amount of money that those streets would need? Because that's what we need to do.
Okay, so according to their list, there was Bayless Ave, Cross Street, Girard, Green Street, Lockwood, Morgan Street, not Morgan Road, and then Park Terrace Place to Park Ave.
Yeah, Cross Street, that's in pretty rough shape. But
Cross street to what?
Cross Street from Park Ave to Morris.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay, and what
and
are
that was only 19,751.
okay, so
so-
can we list the specific amounts for the street? Can we
Let
do the-
me, let me just drop in really quick. That section of Clinton from, or Glenwood from Clinton to Downs is not eligible for CDBG money. There's
it
too much
isn't.
It's too much commercial property around there.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, there's just a few sections of
That's
residential.
true. That's true. Okay,
No.
So
Okay, so
unfortunately,
those,
that's out.
okay,
those
so let's take
streets
that
that
now.
that Steve sent us in that email, those are all eligible under the CBDG,
Yes,
CDBG
Okay.
regulations. Okay, so,
Okay, so let's list them and the amounts. Can you take the 300 out of there? Steve?
yeah, and we'll just start.
okay, so that one for Bayless from Park to Rexford is 43,404.
I'll just say Bayless. There's none of the roads are different. There's not like multiple sections of the same road, are there?
No, no.
Okay, all right, so
Then Cross
Bayless,
Street. Yeah, so
Wait.
Bayless was 43,404.
Okay,
Cross Street.
Cross Street was 19,751. Gerard from Front Street to the end, it says, and that's 70,215. Then Green Street from Westview to Shenango is 15,751. Lockwood from Westview to Shenango, 21,171. Morgan Street from Shenango to State is 34,414. And the last one is Park Terrace Place. It says from N to Park Ave, and that's 46,959.
46 what?
959. Every year the font gets smaller. I just don't understand. I'm like
oh,
holding it
wait
like
until you
this.
see next year. You think this is, the-
No, I meant it's hard to see, you know, like
Yeah.
these
oh, the
fonts, so,
The font.
the font. So how far are we then?
We still have
budget-wise?
164.
Wow.
So,
But you still need to have specific parks projects. Still got to figure out what you're going to do with the trash thing if you're not doing the recycling thing. And then Deb is definitely advocating for the sidewalk rehab.
right.
I think we should still have a couple of trash receptacles someplace.
But would it, considering that we don't have tons of money left, could this be something that, again, we talk about and create a pilot, an effective pilot, rather than just throwing money at it this year, so that we can combine it with a litter campaign and recycling and all that good stuff? Because that was one of the issues I think that our members brought up, is that, you know, the trash receptacles are good, but not if they're misused. So could we focus on what the parks need and the general hospital needs this year, and then add that to the discussion we're going to have about the whole litter, garbage bag stuff? Because, you know, it is, without a proper public service campaign, you're just, you know, it's the problem that you guys told me about when I went to the South Side, Michelle, remember? And
I'm
the trouble
sorry,
that
you're cutting out. I can't hear you, Miriam.
Okay, it's the problem that you guys were talking about when I went over to the South Side with you.
Uh-huh.
That, you know, the people put their garbage in trash receptacles instead of using the blue bags. So it has to be, in my mind, it has to be a holistic outreach that covers all of those issues.
Yeah, unless we got one or two receptacles that cannot accommodate a garbage bag. It's a smaller opening. Do you know what I mean?
But where would we put them?
I don't, Main Street, bus stops.
What about by the high school? I noticed that I know a lot of there's a lot of college kids there, and they leave it so gross by the high school. It looks really bad. Like, they rent the apartments, but there's trash, clothes, anything you can think of just by the high school. There's so much trash.
I know. I've been there and picked it up myself a few years ago. Me and another woman went over and picked up all the litter over there. It's bad.
What I would,
I'm flexible on that trash receptacle thing, but it has to be addressed at some point.
Deb, did you want to?
yeah, Marianne, my thought was if we're doing this next year on the other side with the PSA, I see this as a perfect youth involvement. But if we could get Broome County to pitch in and maybe provide the receptacles next to the bus station, the ones that are anti-trash bags, and then we as the city could potentially pick that up, which we've done in the past. That might be a shared responsibility between the two governmental entities. But again, it's not something that we can fix or ask them to take on tonight. There's groundwork that has to be laid.
So what are you suggesting? Are you suggesting that we fund receptacles or that we somehow get the city to work with the county?
Not this year, but I would absolutely support it next year.
Okay, and my question to the comments about the whole, the area around the high school, I mean, aren't there, I mean, don't the police, sort of patrol those areas and watch for people doing that kind of stuff? I mean, in the old days, you used to get you could get whacked for doing stuff like that. I mean, wow.
But now, they're just, they don't, that's just such a low priority for the police right now. I mean, they're just trying to keep people safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's sad, but
it's a sad comment on our times. How do people feel about, talking about a more holistic pilot program that includes all of the ideas that we've talked about with bags and litter and all that, and not funding anything this year, but working instead on the parks that we want to work on and whatever we want to give to the general hospital sidewalk? How's that? Could we do that, guys?
Okay.
I like that idea. I just want to make sure that we actually do.
Yeah,
discuss
it'll be
the trash
well, no,
program.
it'll be in our minutes, and when we pick up in the fall, it'll be one of the things that we'll do.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, we're getting feedback. I don't know. I hope it's not me, guys, because.
No, I don't think it is. Brandy, don't forget you're here till 23, so you got another year and a half that you can definitely put your feedback in.
Yeah.
Before you can even be replaced.
I'm going to say I've learned a lot. And by 2023, watch out. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, we're on board.
All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and take that out for now. I do want to share an incident that I heard of that someone, and I think I said this last time, even if there's no trash receptacles, some people just throw their garbage on the side of the road. I think this was on Main Street in the downtown area. And like I had said, the reason this person got busted is when you throw your garbage out like that, if you have your Amazon packages, containers in there, or bills, or mail, or anything like that, not too hard to figure out who threw out the garbage. So they apparently busted someone for doing that, and there's like, well, this is your Amazon. I don't understand that. That's like insane thinking. Like,
We're not thinking at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So does anyone have, do we want to make our list for parks like we did for streets, guys?
Yeah, what's their wish list? So do you have that up?
Yeah, I do. I mean, 2, 3, 4, 5,
hold on. I'm
you
gonna
know,
do
at least
this.
$8 million.
Oh,
You know, so
Serious?
we've got $164,000 left, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah, let me
Um,
just move some numbers around real quickly so that it's a little bit easier to mess with. Okay,
You know, I guess,
so
so you go through and you think, okay, he's listed every park and some of the things that need to be done at every single park. You know, some of them are scoreboards, some of them are, you know, replacing the pool filtration system at Sherry Lindsay Park would be $1.5 million. Recreation Park, they want to rehab the pool building, that's 500,000. You know, I don't think we have enough money to do any of the pool rehabs, but
No.
that's just my opinion.
Any more bargain basement figures that we might be able to work with?
Well,
there?
I'm just looking there. There's a scoreboard at Sherry Lindsay for 25,000. There's a scoreboard at Kent Playground. Where's that, on the south side?
I don't know. I wondered that myself when I saw that. That wasn't familiar to me.
Yeah, that's another 25,000.
Is that the park behind the old Red Oak?
Oh,
No, that's
no,
Bailey
that's-
Street.
Yeah,
That's Valley Street. Okay. I
Yeah,
didn't know if it had a name or not.
I think it's
Yeah.
called also the Booth Little League Field.
no, Booth is over on the south side by Evans Street.
Okay.
That,
So I'm just saying, like, so there's only 2 requests for scoreboards. Is that a high priority? Here's replacing, you know, replacing playground equipment at Columbus Park is 120,000. Park. Looks like Sherry Lindsay Park needs a ton of work. Replace playground equipment, 120.
really?
No,
I was just there yesterday. The playground actually looked fairly good, but that's up to the park if they think they need to. replace.
right. I don't know, like, that's where I know that Valley Street where it is, because I used to coach my girls when they were younger, when they did the youth girls softball leagues. You know, I don't know, I think scoreboards are important because you got girls and boys playing all summer. That's just my personal opinion. There's a lot of,
Having helped get the donation of the scoreboards at Fairview Park between 2016 and 18 from Kim Myers and the Cdac Foundation, I can't believe how much they want for those scoreboards, because what we got for the east side was nowhere near those prices. And
25,000.
yeah, and I don't think they're I think they're great scoreboards that they have there now at both the softball and the Little League field. So those numbers are surprising. I'm not sure what kind of scoreboard they're looking for at that price, but that sounds crazy to me.
do you have an alternative figure, Justin?
Well, we got 2 scoreboards that were $11,000 a piece. So we got 2 for the price of less than one of theirs. And I know that those scoreboards are still available for those prices because I'm helping somebody else put together a funding request for the Dix Foundation in another municipality, another city, to do it, put forth their request for one too. So it's mind-boggling to me that that's the price that they're looking for.
Well, can we stipulate that? Can we put that down? The park and for the scoreboard, and then just put $10,000 down?
So we could do like Kent Playground and Sherry Lindsay Park scoreboards
The
and
one
give them
thing,
25,000 for both.
the one thing I'm wondering though is if the scoreboards they're replacing are not electronic and they have to run, and it's the cost of
Oh, yeah.
the labor and stuff for running electric or something, that that may be costly. I don't know. I don't want to, without seeing their plans, I don't want to undercut them, but the scoreboard itself shouldn't be anywhere near that price.
Yeah, they should have been more specific in there.
Right.
I think he was doing sort of back of the envelope calculations when he was running those numbers.
Where's
And we did ask
Webster
for a
Street?
wish list.
Where's Webster Street Park? There's a lot for Webster Street Park too.
That's over off of
It's on the south
Tompkins
side.
Street. It's on the south side over off of Tompkins Street, where the south side pool is.
Oh, okay, because it does say replace the pool filtration equipment, $1.5 million.
Yeah,
Pool.
that's a really old pool. I used to go there when I was little, and that was a really long time ago.
But they have pour in place safety playground surfacing for $27,000 at Webster Street Park. I mean, that seems,
Are
and
there,
then again,
could we focus on those kinds of safety issues?
yeah,
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna say, Marianne and Sue. I would be going for the playground, because I know at Columbus, it was kind of like the wood chips. And we have deep divots under the playground. I went by today and forgot to look. But I like the idea of them not falling and getting hurt.
right, that's in here. Columbus Park, pour in place safety playground surfacing, $59,169.
I know which-
Those are also ADA compliant, I believe. So that helps there with kids that need.
Yeah, let's
Why
try
don't
to
we start-
spend it
let's
all
start
on,
listing those. Can we start listing those?
okay,
Yeah,
See where it gets us?
okay,
Do you guys want me to start writing these down?
Yeah.
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 So can you give him those?
Yeah, that was on the, that's, okay, so, the first one, so they're all pour in place safety playground surfacing. Alfred Street Park, only 8635, 8,635.
Sorry,
For
say the number
playground
again.
surfacing?
8635.
Yep, then Boland Park, same thing, but this is 80,399.
And that's
Sherry
Boland.
Lindsay, 22,000. This is all for that pour in place. Columbus Park, 59,169. Pour in place First Ward Park, 50,831. Phelps Park, 38,500.
Where is Phelps Park? I thought that was Port Dick. Does anybody know where Phelps Park is?
It's on State Street. A lot of people call it State Street Park, but it's actually Phelps.
Oh, okay.
Okay, did we get Phelps? Okay, Phelps. Okay, here's one for you. Sunflower Park.
That's on Murray Street here in the ward.
Okay, that is 38,610. Daly Street, 38,500.
Casino, I believe you're,
Yeah, we're way over.
yeah, you're way over.
Yeah.
And then Webster Street, the same thing, 27,000.
Any thoughts, guys?
How much, Steve, can you scroll back up so we can see how much we're over?
We still have the sidewalks in front of
94,000.
general to look at too.
You're over
Well,
by
He's
94,000.
got that in there at 50,000.
What?
The sidewalk around Binghamton
Right.
General, he's got that 50,000.
Well, I would take Boland Park out because it's
Yeah.
$80,000. I mean,
That's what I was thinking. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you can take that one out.
Anyone disagree? I don't hear anything, so.
Olin
And then-
Park is Carlisle.
Uh-huh.
That is a built-in kids that are literally right there. So I
Yeah, but $80,000 kind of,
yeah.
wow.
But
Well,
that
let's
means there's
look
not a
at, like-
single, the east side parks are getting touched at all. The only
That's what
side
I'm
that's
saying. Let's talk about the neighborhoods. Are we touching every neighbor of every side of town?
Okay.
Of the last time Bowling Park had any updates or upgrades, because I know they just had some. Maybe we can figure out if it was resurfacing or not.
Well, could we give them a portion of what they need?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what about the 38,000 that seems to be for the other parks? I mean, is it a much bigger park, Justin? Is that why?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, it doesn't have baseball fields anymore because they're not large enough. There's a basketball court or used to be tennis, but now it's basketball, I believe. There's a building in the middle that used to be for a water feature and stuff, changing area, and it's not. It's just there now. And there's the playground and picnic area. There's not a lot there.
I want to say they have double courts, whereas some of these other ones are smaller and they don't. Because I know at Phelps it only has like 2 half courts.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the difference.
Right.
But the playground surfacing that they're talking about, I believe, is for literally underneath play equipment. It's not surfaces for basketball courts and stuff, right?
Right. It's
Steve?
playground yeah, playground.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to just do a real quick,
Columbus Park is awful high. Was that because of expanded area with the rec center by chance?
I know this was just, this is what he put together as this, stretch wish list, right?
Yeah. So those higher ones like Columbus and
Olin?
Bowling,
Roland,
how much over are we?
94,000. And that's
And
with
then-
the 50,000 for the sidewalk rehab as well.
Whoa,
But only 50,000 for the sidewalk rehab.
what just happened?
Which that was just our idea. That wasn't a request. Can we just,
Which
Grab
one?
your phone.
Can
Oh,
you
what is
see it?
that?
This is the playground. This is the courts. That's the little building. And this used to be a baseball field, but it's not now.
so it's just nothing?
Yeah, they used to play East Side Youth Association used to do half field football on there, flag football, but they don't do that there anymore. They do it across Calvin Coolidge's front when they do it.
Can they do soccer there? Is there anything that they could use that
Not-
space for?
Not really big
Not
enough.
big
It's just a big open field.
So Steve, if we can't give them, I mean, obviously we can't give them everything they ask for. If we, proportion our recommendations for these things, what's the option for the parks? I mean, is it better, what I'm saying is it better to recommend some parks at the amount that he's suggesting? Or if we don't, if we gave somebody, who's asking for 59, if we gave them 35, what happens?
I was just gonna say, so just take ours out completely. Because the number of people for the playground versus the number of people on and around general, it doesn't even compare.
Wait, I didn't understand what you said, Deb. Can you say that again? Take what out?
I so apologize to the committee. I have no voice tonight.
Oh, no, don't apologize. It's not that. It's the poor quality of my reception, I think.
My thought was to take out Columbus Park completely because, well, that is my home park. The number would be in the hundreds utilizing that, and the sidewalks at around the hospital would be in the thousands. So for me, the numbers, it just doesn't add up. That's just my opinion.
All right, just because I thought it might help a little bit, I'm going to throw up here, while you guys are discussing, this is the LMI percent. So that's the percentage of the population around there that's essentially in low income. And then I'll put the pop that's served by that, and that's just the GIS calculation. Obviously there's crossover, so the pop served will be more than like 3 times the city population, because obviously, you know, there's a crossover between parks, but it should still tell you, might give you some actual more better numbers. So keep talking. I'm just gonna have to do some calculations real quick.
So, my question about the sidewalk rehab around General Hospital, is that to make the sidewalks ADA compliant? Which they should already be.
So if the amount of lifting cracks, it was absolutely, I took 20 pictures, I couldn't get it. I can understand why people ride their wheelchairs in our streets is because our sidewalks are absolutely pitiful. And when I witnessed a person who was right side impaired due to a stroke, almost do a face plant, that bothered me. And I figured we can do better. So the number population being is lower income that walks, uses buses from, I believe it's Vestal Ave. I'm not great with my geography over yonder. That have walkers for ambulatory devices, whether it's scooters or wheelchairs. We could do better. And that's just my pitch.
No, Deb, I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I'm thinking is, why doesn't the hospital partner with the city for something like that?
Deb, is it that the sidewalks have shifted and they stick up, and or are they broken?
It's actually both. And on some of the ones that were heaved, they have tried doing that. It's a saw that
They grind it down. Yeah.
grinds down. Some of those blocks that have had the heaving, they have, yes, tried that.
Okay.
Do I think that we need to accept the 301,000? That was like the wish list, from the engineer. It can, be done, more reasonably.
Could it be done in sections? In other words, if we have, we decide on what we want to fund the parks for, whatever's left over, could we begin the process? Do we have to do, what are our options here? Thoughts? Anybody?
Yeah, so I have a question for Deb. Did you say that the city engineer estimated it to be about $300,000 to do with the project?
Wish list, and it went up to Morris, which was the next cross street. Maybe
Right.
we brought down more to the first parking lot where the main entrance is, like at
Right.
that half circle at Mitchell. There's part of the old wing that goes, and there's a small walk area. It was that next cross street. Maybe that could be brought back. It wouldn't have to go all the way up there. It just seems like most of the traffic is from like the bus stop, Vestal Ave, coming up to the hospital.
Okay.
Is that Mitchell, or is that Mitchell?
So
It's Mitchell Ave.
So could we do that? Could we specify that from Vestal Ave to Mitchell?
Does the bus still go up South Washington, and come down Pennsylvania? Or Park
Say
or
that
whatever?
again, Justin.
Does
Say it again.
the bus still go up? I think it used to go up South Washington and then come down, turn up by the zoo and then come back down behind the hospital. Does that still do that or no?
It's Park, the bus, it's the Park Ave bus that goes there.
Right, but do the people have to get off at Vestal Ave or is this, can they be encouraged to?
I'm not really sure. I don't know.
Oh, I think Justin's just froze.
Yeah. he
Either
did.
that or he's really holding himself really still.
Yeah.
Justin, if you can hear us, I think something froze. What's up, quorum?
So what do we want to do, guys? We have to come to some kind of a decision.
Do we hold it for more money next year?
Well, that was my question. Could it be done in phases? I mean, does it have to all be done at once? In other words, if you do the part from Vestal Avenue to Mitchell this year, and then,
I really believe that the city needs to talk to the hospital also to see what their master plan is. Because there's got to be something that the hospital works with the city on that. There would have to be.
Yeah, I agree, Michelle. I mean, it doesn't seem quite right that it's their business.
Right. And it's a healthcare facility and they're, have to be cognizant of the safety of their patients.
Right.
that basically will come down to a legal question, won't it?
Yeah,
Whose property, who has,
right. So
Yeah.
I think that we need to see if that can be pursued in some regard.
Okay.
You do realize you have a healthcare industry that just took record losses 2 years with COVID.
yeah.
So we just have to be cognizant this is more of a public entity, UHS, serving that population over there.
Well, the question boils down to, do we want to recommend a partial renovation of the sidewalk, or do we want to table it? Because there's no way we can spend 300,000. What do we want to do with this one particular issue?
I thought there was one for 160, if we can do a partial on that.
You think that a partial would be how much?
There's one for 160, it didn't have all the bells and whistles on it. It
Okay.
wasn't-
If we were to plug that number in, what happens, Steve?
To the sidewalk rehab,
Yeah,
you guys are over by 200,000, 240,000.
Dang it. It doesn't matter.
does the city have other funding that it can use for such projects?
Yeah, I mean,
Other
you've got like
pots
other
of money?
I mean, there's CHIPS money and there's other monies as well, so. But the same thing could be said with playgrounds and mill and pegs.
Right.
I think we need to take that out, that 160 out,
Yeah,
and that needs to be like a separate project in conjunction with the hospital. It's my opinion.
I honestly think you're gonna be running into who owns, and I don't think the hospital will be responsible for the sidewalks, but it is an issue that could be, again, brought to the mayor's attention. So what if we take that amount of money out? Where are we?
If you zero that out, I won't take it off there, you're only 44,000 over.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Oh, freezing?
44,000, you said, Steve?
Yeah, you're 44,000 over.
Okay, so then I think we prioritize these parks, right? I mean,
Yes.
so
I moved the
um,
numbers so you can see a little bit better what we're down. to.
okay. So the LMI percent is the population in poverty. Is that what we're saying?
Well, the population that's below the 80% LMI level, that's what makes it, you have
The
to be 51%
eligibility.
or higher to be eligible. So but
Right.
those are the number of households that are that. It's not quite the same as poverty levels, but it's in the same ballpark as poverty levels. It's HUD's
So-
calculation as opposed to the Census Bureau's.
So looking at the numbers, the percentage numbers, Boland Park, Alfred Street, they're not asking for a whole lot. Could we adjust the Boland Park figure and perhaps another one of the higher ones?
And I was thinking about just completely eliminating them. Like completely eliminating some of the, like
Which ones-
completely,
Which ones would you eliminate?
I would do the lowest of population served maybe, and the lowest on the LMI percent, one would Alfred Street.
I mean, I can do this. If you want to know the actual number of LMI people, that's just a calculation in those areas.
Whatever, if we don't fund a particular park this year, I think then we should make sure that they're at the top of the list for next year.
Next year, right. I mean, we just really need to,
Yeah. Yeah, Alfred Street, that's a very small park.
They're also asking for the least amount of money.
the least amount of money.
It's not gonna
Yeah.
impact our bottom line as much.
Yeah.
So the next one would be Boland Park, and that's 80,000.
Yeah,
What if we give them half? What if we do 40,000 for Boland? And then next year, another 40.
I mean, it's possible they're going to do this anyway with some other source of funding as well. That is a possibility.
Let's put Boland Park at 40.
will that get us where we need to be?
You're
Yeah, we're
still about 4,000 over.
Okay, and then Columbus. Reduce Columbus
By 4,000.
Yeah,
Or by 3906?
Yeah, I was going to say I can do the calculation. Circular reference. I knew that was going to happen. Dang it. All right.
Very impressive.
That does do it all. It zeroed it out. Never mind.
Could do it the old fashioned way and just subtract.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
How does that look to everyone? And I would recommend that we do, when I do a presentation to city council, and hopefully the mayor's representative will be there too, I will talk to them about the concerns we've had about Binghamton General, the hospital, sidewalks, and see if we can get them to start thinking about options, ways to fix what's wrong. Could we do that, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I must say that, we have a mayor now who is really receptive to these kinds of issues, and he will listen. So I'm confident that even if city council doesn't listen, the mayor's office might. So
I'm happy with what we have there now.
any discussion on this? Anybody who feels, strongly? I know that Deb, you probably would rather have had us do something about the hospital, and you've been very gracious about things, but
No, how I can get it done is put in a letter to legal that there's concerns of safety and it can go that way.
yeah, that's another option too. And also, whose district is that?
Joe Burns.
Okay. And this is also a very, very good thing that the CDAC does. It identifies issues like this that need to be brought to the attention of people who can do something about them. So
Right.
this will definitely be on the list of things that I will talk to them about. And I'll bring them the estimates and, voice Deb's concerns to them and see what can be done. And then again, make a note that next year we look very seriously at that issue again, if we can. Excuse me. So that having been said, are we happy with this recommendation?
Yes,
Yeah.
Everybody, anybody who is not happy with this? I don't hear anything. So it looks like we're
Well,
there.
it's just, since it's the CDBG and you're gonna be going to go look at, so these are the service programs. I don't want to read all the numbers.
No,
Right.
but we've gone through them.
These are the capital projects.
Uh-huh.
That's a lot of capital projects.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a lot of ERs. And then this is the overall, this is everything for CDBG, including the amounts for salaries and other miscellaneous expenses.
Any discussion on any of those sections?
I think it looks good.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
we put a lot of time and effort into this. I think it reflects it.
So if that is the case, can I have a motion to accept this budget recommendation?
I'll make a motion.
Mary,
Second it.
point,
That's it.
discussion point, Mary Ann, please.
Yes, Deb?
No, it's just a typo, I think, from the public service programming that M has mobile crisis service. Should that be changed, the title? And did I catch something or is it not?
Oh,
Yeah,
actually,
see, these projects here are the specific ones that are, yeah, these will be updated to reflect the services. This is just because these are put in as separate individual lines. It's because we're using an older spreadsheet for the sum total budget.
we're
these-
getting that feedback again, Steve. It's hard to understand you.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so these are the actual service programs, and that includes everything that would also include these things, like the park rangers, the teen center, all that other stuff. So these labels are kind of meaningless. This is more of just showing you what last year was.
Okay,
And then these are the actual projects.
that was a good catch there, Deb. That was important. Okay, so
And we have the mental
We had
health
a
response
motion.
plan. Yep.
we had a motion to approve or a motion to vote on this. And a second, did we have a second?
Yes,
Yes,
I
Sue did.
seconded.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? It looks like it has passed.
Hooray.
Yay. I must say, guys, this is really awesome. Especially since, they've put more responsibility on us to identify certain projects that we never had to identify before. So I must applaud all of you. This is really cool. So moving on, we wanted to talk about next steps. So Steve, we are done for now. The only thing that remains is for me to go to City Council,
Yeah, I'm just,
present this budget and explain what we're thinking.
ew, I found the old city website. I'm trying to find the city website for the calendar. Yes, you'll need to go, and the next one you would be able to go to is, we're not doing it at RL, so I think, yeah, we should be able to get you on the agenda then for the 2nd. So,
May 2nd.
yeah, would
next
you be
week?
able to do that?
Next week, yeah. Mhm.
For the CC meeting?
Are these in person or virtual?
I think you can do both. So if you want to call in, you can.
Okay.
Let's see, where's the calendar? Ah, here it is, calendar.
So that's when Mary Ann goes to to the city council.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep,
Yeah,
second
and-
will be the work session, so I will try to get you, if you can't be, if they say it's too late because of the new New York State things, the next one will be the 16th, but I would rather get you to the second, because it's a recommendation only, and that gives the mayor 2 weeks after that to come to them with an actual budget. It also gives me 2 weeks to work on the annual action plan. So
And I guess I would prefer to come in person if that's possible. I think it's much.
I
much
think
better
you
to-
can, but if not, I'll let you know.
Okay, let me know.
And then the next meeting after that will probably, our first meeting, unfortunately, city council, we don't know what's going on with meetings yet. So that's an unknown, and city council meetings are not up on the calendar. I'd like us to start at the beginning of the next HUD entitlement year, the city's HUD entitlement year, which starts on the 1st of September. So likely then the first, we still like Wednesdays, right?
Yeah,
I guess, yeah,
Likely then the 7th.
of September.
Yeah. Now, that being said, I will do the month before. Oh, I think Justin just dropped that again, unfortunately. The month or so before then, I will be doing the on-site monitoring visits. I know everyone's busy, obviously, and especially during the day. So I know everyone's not available, but I always do encourage CDAC members to come to those on-site monitoring visits and ask those. Yeah, I know you've been having some problems there, Justin. And ask, whatever questions you want. That's one of the best times to review what they're doing, because you can ask very specific questions to the agencies. So you can sort of see how it's working out in the field, basically.
and that's in August.
That'll be like, yeah, July, August, assuming I don't keep putting it off like I always do. So those usually take like half an hour. Although I have had CDAC members drill them for another half an hour, so that's fine too. I actually welcome it. And then other than that, I would say in the meantime, I'll keep you guys updated on what, obviously I'll let you know when the mayor's, but what the mayor's budget is, how it changed, if it changed. I mean, you never know. And the status, if there's any issues where public comments come in that are surprising or counter, or just any comments, so you guys know what the public thought of. It'll be of the mayor's budget. That the public doesn't review your
Right.
budget; they have to review the mayor's budget.
Right.
But I'll let you know of that situation. And obviously, if there's any problems with HUD, there was problems last year, but it really wasn't the nature and the content. It was some other stupid reasons. So other than that, there may be a meeting once the home. So you know how we had like ESG COVID money and CDBG COVID money. They're calling it home ARP, but it's essentially home COVID money for new housing or rehab rentals for homeless. So it's specifically to target homeless individuals. I've worked with the COC already. I still have to do a housing study, which I keep putting off. I got to get that going. But you guys will need to review the information for that and make a recommendation. I don't know when that will be. I don't know when we're going to be at that stage yet. HUD's not yet sort of hounded me for the budget update. So hopefully it'll be in the next few months. So.
Okay.
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 Also, guys, we said that we would talk about the pilot programming, and refresh my memory. It's the litter recycling issues, and then I forgot what the other one was. We had said we would add to it and
The
discuss.
sidewalk.
No, the receptacles.
Receptacles, thank you. That's what it was. Okay.
Can I just bring up something about the garbage again? Sorry, because it's bothersome. I know that we're like recommending that, but a lot of like, especially around the high school, a lot of those houses are owned by people who don't even live here. So like basically like we're funding like local.
Well,
like,
you know, this actually goes to what the mayor ran on, which is the whole neighborhood slumlord,
Okay.
So this is, Kenya, I will make sure that I talk to both the mayor and city council about that as an issue, because I know it's something that needs to happen. This is
Yes.
happening everywhere in the city, and
Yes.
it's dragging us down. It really is.
Yes, it is, because a lot of people who own the homes, especially that are, that SUNY students use, they don't really care about the property or
Absolutely,
anything.
yeah.
It's just basically a money maker for them.
No, you're
But it's
absolutely
an
right.
eyesore for people, especially around the high school. There's clothes, there's needles. I mean, it's just like a pair, my daughter is not at Binghamton yet, but she will be there shortly. And it's just not okay.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. And the other thing that, this is an aside, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but one of the things that I feel very strongly about, we had a first ward neighborhood watch for a while before COVID, and we made huge progress by bringing the neighbors together and talking about, commonly shared issues. One of the things that I've been advocating for is a citywide neighborhood watch where people from all neighborhoods would come to talk about such issues, and then and the mayor said that he would actually come to those kinds of things. And I think they could be held quarterly, but we need to talk about these issues because all of us have houses in our neighborhoods that are owned by absentee landlords who don't care. And it's killing us. It is absolutely killing us. And on Main Street where our high school is, it's embarrassing. So I will definitely bring this up as well, Kenya. Please be assured of that, because it's important.
And it's not just a high school thing, it's all over.
No, it's not. But I mean,
Oh,
at
wow.
the high school, you expect,
Yeah.
to see that at the high school is even worse. If worse can get worse, So these are wonderful issues that we're talking about, guys. And please, before the 2nd, if you guys have concerns that you want me to bring up specifically with city council regarding our process or some of the recommendations we've made, please send them to me or send them to Steve and he can send them to me. And I will make sure that I put that on my list as well.
Okay.
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 All right. So,
I
I'll
want
make
to
a motion
apologize
to
for,
adjourn.
oh, sorry.
know what, Justin?
I wanted to apologize for being late today, and I wanted to apologize for going in and out. Since the storm, my internet has been
Oh,
less
no,
than
no
desirable. It pulled the wires off my house.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know how many of you, well, I think you've all seen it. The shooting here, about 110 feet behind me out this window.
Oh, wow.
It has been, the side of the town is, we're shook. And
I can imagine.
my childhood Kool-Aid stand and everything was right where she was shot. And it is really disturbing to me, someone who's lived here my whole life, to have things like this happening here. And the police have been tremendous in assisting us. But to have 35 cameras and security and pointing in every direction and not to have leads makes, our neighborhood watch. We're out there at night now with flashlights, taking shifts, walking around the streets to try to save our neighborhood. And it's just, neighborhood, it's brought all of us who are still here together, but it's showing the real divide in the city between the absentee landlord spots and the neighbors.
Absolutely.
It's stark. And
Yeah, it really is.
And
those of us who grew up here, for us, it's even more stark because we remember how it used to be. It was almost idyllic. I mean,
Yeah.
people didn't believe us when we said we lived in these great neighborhoods.
Yep.
But we did.
It's
So-
a struggle.
And this is why I think what we're doing now, guys, the kind of CDAC we have right now, this is going to make a bigger impact than it ever has before. It's really cool. So Steve, I will ask for a motion to adjourn and a second, and then I'll take the roll.
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Michelle.
Do I have a second?
I will.
Justin, and I will call the roll. I can do it. Randy Brown,
Here.
Susan Bucci,
Here.
Ebony Hattow.
Here.
Deborah Hogan,
Present.
Justin McGregor,
Here.
Kenya Middleton,
Here.
Michelle O'Loughlin,
Here.
and I am Mary Ann Callahan, and we are adjourned. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.